Hi there, my name is Layoo Charles, and in today's video, I want us to talk about watermelon farming in Uganda. This is the Ugandan farmer, and I bring to you farming content from Uganda. I've had people who have been reaching out to me asking about watermelon farming, and of course, today I decided to bring to you detailed video about watermelon farming, and this will be right from preparing your garden to putting the seedlings to harvesting and to the market. Right here where I'm standing is actually 4 acres of watermelon. It's a watermelon garden or a watermelon farm. In this video, I'll be able to cover several things about watermelon, and this will be from watermelon farming, varieties that is grown in Uganda, preparing your land, spacing your watermelon, the methods that actually we use here to grow watermelon, some of the pests and diseases that maybe disturb your watermelon, harvesting and also getting the market. So to start with, watermelon farming is actually the growing of watermelon, starting from planting to harvesting your watermelon. And watermelon of Uganda are normally green in color. That is from the outside, but of course, when you look at the inside, they are red, like they're reddish from the inside. That's their fruits. And watermelon are climbing fruits. So what does this mean? It means they need a lot of space. So that is where the spacing aspect will come in. Of course, shortly I'll talk about that. So watermelon are actually grown in different parts of the region. We in Uganda we have northern Uganda, central Uganda, eastern and western. But of course, I'm based in northern Uganda, which I can 100% say it's the region that still has one of the best farmland, the fertile land around Uganda. So we want to focus on watermelon farming in northern Uganda. So watermelon is actually one of the most profitable farming ideas I would encourage anyone to do right now. And I'm saying this because of two reasons. One, watermelon only take 2 to 3 months in the garden and you'll be harvesting it, you'll be selling it. Two, watermelon is quite marketable. The market is not really hard to actually get. So those are the two reasons why I say it's very profitable farming ideas right now. As long as you take good care of it, I can assure you you'll get your money immediately after 2 to 3 months. Now, there are few things that you need to know as someone who is planning to venture into watermelon farming. And of course, I've made my notes here that I'm going to take you through a detailed things that you need to know as someone who wants to venture into watermelon farming. So there are things that you need to know and you need to plan accordingly before you start planting your watermelon, because that fruits actually need attention. It need you to take care of it very well, like a baby. Let's start with varieties of watermelon that is grown in Uganda. There are about 4 varieties of watermelon that are grown in Uganda. And starting with number 1 is what is called Sukari F1 of Kenya, which is locally known as zebra. And this is the most grown variety, by the way. When you go to the agro shops around and you ask for Sukari F1, you will get it. So that's the well-known variety. And our number 2 is what is called Sukari F1 of Africa. Then the third one is called Chairman of Uganda. Then the fourth one, which is the last variety, is called Raha, which is a Ugandan variety. Now let's talk about preparing your land. What I know as a watermelon farmer, and also based on my interaction with watermelon farmers around northern Uganda, watermelon actually requires a lot of space. Why do they require a lot of space? Because they are climbing fruits, as I mentioned in the start of this video. You can just look at this. These watermelon are actually 1.5 months right here, and it's because they are well taken care of. But let me come back here after 2 months, and you'll not see any space here. They would all be covering this garden. And keep on watching, subscribe to this channel so that you get to see the update about this watermelon right here if you are planning to venture into watermelon farming. So they need a lot of space because they are climbing fruits. That's one. And for this reason, that means when you're planning to venture into watermelon farming, you need a relatively a larger garden, by the way, or you don't just need to put maybe in a very small place. At least you can start with 1 acre, maybe, or half an acre, for the start. Yes, for the start. So another thing that you need to know about watermelon, the site where you are planning to plant your watermelon should be able to receive enough sunlight. Just look at where I'm standing right now. It's like 1 p.m. This is afternoon, and you can see the sunlight is directly hitting me. It is directly eating this watermelon. Why? Because they need direct sunlight. They need enough sunlight. So this means if the land that you are preparing to put your watermelon in is having a lot of shade, maybe a lot of trees, you need to plan and deal with that first before putting in your watermelon. Another thing, the land where you plan to put in your watermelon should be prepared at least 4 weeks to planting, meaning you can be able to add in compost manure to the soil because this will allows your previous crops that were in the field to decompose very well. Yeah, that's another thing you need to know about watermelon. Another thing, if the site or if the land that you've selected for planting your watermelon has a lot of shade, of course I've already talked about that, make sure you clear them. Let's come to planting watermelon now. You've prepared your garden. Now you're planning to, planting your watermelon. One thing you have to understand is watermelon grows well in flat land, in flat areas. If you can look at this garden very well, you'll realize that they are flat. Why? It's because they grow well in flat areas. So after preparing your land, what else? Make sure that when planting it, you put it to be measure like at least 6 feet. That's the local typical measurement we do here in northern Uganda. Make it 6 feet distance, between every holes. You already know why, because I told you these are climbing fruits and they need enough space. So you need to be flexible enough and give them enough space because they have to breathe. Why am I saying this? What I know, every one watermelon seedlings can produce around 3 to 4 fruits, by the way. Of course, it depends on which variety you've used. That is for Sukari F1, that's what I know. And if you already know watermelon, they are big. If you take care of it very well, they're actually normally big. Keep on following this video. I'm going to show you in the next few weeks from now, you'll be seeing something right here in this garden. So watermelon seedlings also, as you plant, you have to be careful. These are very sensitive seedlings, by the way, and they should be treated with enough care so that they do not rot after planting. There are, sometimes there are things that you need to, that's one thing you need to consider. You need to take care of it. Sometimes even some insects can also disturb. So that's another thing you need to note down actually. So how do you now plant the seed? The seed can either be planted directly into the holes. You make the holes, then you plant, or you can do nursery beds. This is something that I learned recently and not many farmers knows about it. You can actually put your watermelon in the nursery beds, then later on you transfer them to your farm or to your garden, to your land that you've actually prepared. If you want to think of irrigation, I think I would also encourage, it's very important in watermelon farming, even if you planted them maybe during rainy season or something like that. But the best irrigation system for your watermelon would be what is called drip irrigation. You can learn more about that in my next video. I'm going to talk about irrigation. Another thing I want to tell you, as someone who wants to venture into watermelon farming, is the method that we use here in Uganda or in Africa to grow watermelon. One, which is the most common one, is organic watermelon farming. Some people, or most people, wants to go organically, and this is where watermelons are grown using natural inputs and in the form of fertilizers, like maybe using the cow dung, of course the decomposed one, not like the the remains of maybe goats and chicken and stuff like that. That is organic watermelon farming. Another one is what is called greenhouse watermelon farming. uh, when they say this might be the best way, but of course you need to have the resources. If you don't have the resources to set up a greenhouse, you probably don't want to try this. So let's try to talk about watermelon pests and some of the diseases. Most common types that I know based on my interactions with farmers that attack watermelon, there's one which is beetles, and then we have like fruit borers. There's also grasshoppers, by the way, aphids, whistles, and those. So that's why there is also need to, if you're not doing it organically, you need to maybe do the spraying and stuff like that to get rid of this. And now, the second last for today, I want us to talk about harvesting your watermelon. Watermelon are normally ready to harvest after 90 days or more, depending on how you planted it, where you planted it, and which varieties you've used. But what I know about watermelon, they take 3 months, or some takes around 2 to something. So we can say 90 days for now, which is literally 3 months. And of course, when this depends on when you planted them, of course, as I said. And about the market, which is lastly, recently I asked a question that, in your experience as a farmer, what do you normally start with? Do you start with identifying the market, or you start with preparing your garden? And some people say you start with market, some people say you start with identifying, preparing garden. But I think all this should go together. Sometimes if you're planning to plant something, it would be a good idea if you can identify your market. It's also good. Let's talk about watermelon market. Um, One thing I know, let's start with pricing. Watermelon ranges from 30,000 to 8,000. Some even goes to for 10,000 depending on the size. Now, the size of course will comes in when you prepare your garden very well, you take care of your watermelon very well, then you have some good size. So imagine you have 4 acres of watermelon and then you're getting like 10,000 seedlings, sorry, like 10,000 fruits, and you're selling them at 5,000. Do the maths, how much are you going to get? So watermelon farming is actually a very profitable farming ideas, farming venture. I would encourage anyone to do right now. One is because they don't take long. You don't need a lot of resources, and that is it about watermelon farming. I hope this can help you. This has helped you. My name is Layoo Charles, and this watermelon right here will be ready in the market in the next 2 months from now, and I'll be glad to get order from you. Subscribe to this channel and keep on following for more amazing farming videos right here from Uganda. I'll see you in my next video.